A number of years ago, I was a part of an organization that wanted to change the world by any means necessary. I was sitting in a meeting, and someone behind me said, "If you were to take over the world tomorrow, would it be any different?" So I turned around to see who said it. There was no one there. The meeting continued. The voice said it again, but this time it was from within me. "If you were to take over the world tomorrow, would it be any different?" So I looked around this meeting, and I could see the pathology of the beings that were in the meeting. Territorialism, ego, possessiveness, all of this was in this meeting. And so I said to myself, you know what? Regardless of the ideology, if we took over the world tomorrow, it wouldn't be any different. I left that meeting. I subsequently transferred from Morehouse College to University of Southern California, USC. I began to have a series of inner experiences. I was in the psychobiology department. I was on track to go to med school. I began to have a series of inner experiences. I was seeing visions, I was hearing voices, I was leaving my body. And at the time, I labeled this pathological. I didn't tell anybody about it because it was outside the paradigm of psychology at that time. And they did not abate. The experiences didn't stop. They only intensified. There was also a dream I was having almost every single night. 3 men were chasing me, but I'd always wake up before they could capture me. Then one night, they were really close. I could see them, see the outline of their faces. And I turned around, and there was a small tent. Thousands of people were trying to get into this tent. I knew every single person in line. And I said to myself, these men can't hurt me. I have all of my friends with me. And I started hollering, trying to get their attention. And one by one, they turned their back on me. 2 of the men held me down, and another one plunged a knife into my heart. This was a lucid dream. The pain was excruciating, physically and emotionally, and I died. And when I woke up, I could see that I was surrounded by a presence of such love. I had never felt so much love in my life. The love inundated every molecule of my being. The beauty was so breathtaking, indescribable. The lint on the rug glowing with luminosity, animate and inanimate objects glowing. And I woke up, and my life changed after that. I went on a discovery path to discover what had happened to me. And in so doing, I bumped into the mystical teachings of Gautama the Buddha, Dhammapada, Jesus the Christ. I bumped into the great mystics of the ages and saw what they were saying and what had happened to them. And the trajectory of my life shifted, and I became extremely interested in reality, extremely interested in connection with this presence. Meditation. And it took a number of years, but integration took place. There was an integration with this expanded awareness that I had in that moment that changed my life. Subsequently, I used to do one-on-one healings with individuals, one-on-one counseling, became a spiritual therapist, ultimately became a minister. A number of years later, founded the Agape International Spiritual Center. But I don't want to bypass the fact that there were years of insights and revelations and luminosity and going into the light and being fed and taught by my higher self, taught by the light, until there was an integration, a kind of a stabilization of that awareness. And it continues even unto this day. That's the short version of what occurred. So today, beyond theory, hypothesis, memorization, I'm aware of the light that's within us all. I'm aware of the presence. And I love having the ability to break down large spiritual concepts into units of transformational knowledge that people can catch energetically and intellectually. It's one of the areas in which I'm gifted, and I'm very grateful for that. I founded Agape in November of 1986, and it didn't come without a lot of resistance from myself. It was an inner calling to start a spiritual community that would represent the next stage of human evolution, meaning a transformational community that contained all walks of life, rich diversity, the demographics of age and color and sexual orientation and, all human family in one space, celebrating life together. I was called. I got captured by the vision of it, the possibility of it, and I resisted it until I couldn't resist anymore. And I finally said yes and allowed a vision group to develop and then allowed Agape to unfold. I will tell you a story. There was a moment in which I was in a lucid dream, and I was walking down the street, and I was very tiny. I was really small. And there was this building, and this joy, and this laughter, and this celebration, this energy was coming out of this room. All kinds of people were in this room and pouring out of this building, and joy, and it was so much beauty. And the inner voice said, "This is what we want you to do." And I said, I don't know how to do that. And they said, "You say yes, and we'll do the rest." And I began my surrendering process to being the individual to be an instrument of founding the Agape International Spiritual Center. And the promise was kept.